My name is Caroline Ribeiro. I, I, I migrated into the United Kingdom about 20 years ago. I came in with my 4 children, 3 girls and a boy, and my ex-husband. We settled in South London with the children. My older daughter was already, she had already finished her A-levels because we came from Zimbabwe. That's where they went to school. But my the youngest ones were still starting school. So my older daughter managed to get into nursing. She joined the nursing, the graduate the diploma program that was there at that point in time. So my other daughter wanted to become a lawyer. She really wanted to become a lawyer, and I said to her, it's going to be very difficult because obviously we are not going to get any support from the government because we are just, I was a student then, so I would have to look after the children, pay the rent, and still make sure the bills are all covered. So she did manage to get into a college, a higher college, because there was an agreement between the Zimbabwean government and the British government where they could pay a subsidized fee. So she managed to do her A-levels and then in one of the colleges in South London, and then she went to Holborn. She did 2 years, but it was very stressful because of the conditions, no support. It wasn't hard, so she dropped out. And then obviously along the way her visa expired as well, because when they all came, they came under me with their passports, under my own passport. So now she was an adult, but she was 18, so she would have had to stand on her own, and it just got all complicated, and obviously she couldn't continue with her education at that point in time. And then obviously I felt I still needed to do something for myself, because I had to change my career completely, because when I was in Zimbabwe, I was actually working in the financial institution. I was working for a company called Old Mutual. It was sort of completely, and I couldn't get that kind of a job here because as an immigrant, that's when I started I went into the health sector. So I wanted to improve myself. I couldn't go to formal education or to any college because of financial constraints. I wasn't long enough in the country. I was only a student. I had to pay, and I couldn't. So eventually I decided I said, okay, if I can't do the formal, I'll try and do long distance. So I decided to just do long distance while, looking after the children, juggling, balancing, working and studying. So I went and enrolled with Open University. And, for some reason, God is there. I paid for the first 2 modules because I wanted to do a BSc in health and social care. So I paid for the first modules myself, and I struggled, and I excelled, and I passed. So the university approached me and said, we've got some funding from, I think they had their own personal funding. So they offered me to take over my tuition fees, and they bought me a computer. And from there onwards, I was excelling. I did all my modules, my credits I did my HND, my higher national diploma with Open University. By then, it was in 2008, that's when we got our permanent stay to stay in the UK. So that's opened more doors for me. And so I decided to do a top-up at the Middlesex University, and I did health promotion at BSc honors, and I managed to graduate. It was actually I don't know, I can't even imagine, I couldn't imagine myself getting to there from the time where I came from this country, from my country to that point in time. It was actually 10 years, I think. It was a long journey, a real long journey. So in 2012, I graduated. So from 1999 to 2012 was a real struggle. But be that as we may say, when they say perseverance pays, it does. If you just persevere and you're consistent, yes, a lot of things will happen. A lot of if you don't stay focused, you'll fall on the wayside. But there is hope for people. If you're really determined, you can manage to do anything. The sky is the limit for anyone. I never dreamt I would have a degree. I never dreamt I would, my children would finish education. The way when we came, we were really struggling. It was difficult. And along that way, I lost my husband, couldn't cope. So he said no, he just left, and with the stress, and he abandoned us and the family. But I still managed to keep the family together, the children. My daughter eventually, did manage to get her degree, but she didn't do law. Eventually, she just went into mental health. She's a mental health nurse. My first daughter, who managed to get into the nursing through the diploma route, qualified. She's a qualified nurse. And the younger daughter, she struggled with her education, but I motivated her, and I told her, I was an example to her. I still helped her. I motivated her. I supported her. It took her 6 years, but eventually she did manage to get her degree as well. She did public health, and she and my son right now is doing very well. My young son, he's a professional trainer, and he's now gone back into university. He's going to study dietitian, because he thinks, well, that's going to help him together with his health, and so he can actually work with his clients more with to get to do with their health, their exercises, and then he can also eventually be able to prescribe a diet and programs. And it's his passion. He wants to help people. People are really struggling out there. And I myself, my own passion is, I after I had my degree, I did health promotion, but because unfortunate as well, what happened is when we were the lot that graduated when the government changed the rules. All the primary care trusts were closed down. They were doing the health promotion, they were doing the smoking programs, the obesity, and everything was taken from the NHS to the public sector, to the private sector, sorry. So we couldn't get any jobs. The doors were closed again. It was like you thought, oh, I've now come to the right place, but you're not in the right place. I was unfortunate again. We couldn't get any jobs with in terms of health promotion. But I didn't give up still. I thought, okay, I still think there's something else I can do. I can't just sit on the valuable information that I have and say, oh, I can't get a job anymore, public health is rubbish, and and just forget about everything. I decided to go into teaching. So I studied. I've got a higher diploma in education, and I got a job in a college, a higher education college, because I trained as lifelong skills. So I work with adults to from 18 up to undergraduates. It is my passion because I know there's a lot of people from my background that haven't had the opportunity to improve themselves. They were having problems when they came into this country, and I still believe anybody can be anything at any time. Age is not a barrier for anything. You can still achieve and be something. So with my teaching at the moment, for the past 3 years, I've been concentrating on one-to-one. I work with those that are really finding it difficult, those that are really struggling to get anything, that are almost giving up, to say, oh, I can't cope anymore, I've got children, I can't understand the content, I'm just useless. So I'm a coach. I'm an educational coach. I did some coaching programs as well. I went back to school. I did a qualification in coaching. So I coach them and I work with them one-to-one, and it's so rewarding. I'm so happy because a lot of them have graduated. They've got their HND. They're saying, oh, we're not doing our top up to go into university. And looking back from when they came and from where they are when they leave after I've been working with them, it's quite rewarding, very, very rewarding, and I'm really happy. It's like I may not be standing in front of the class teaching them, but I'm their first point of contact. You'll attend your class, and if you don't get the content, at least everything is not lost, because I'm there. I will make sure that I deliver the content. I break it down for them so that they can actually be able to catch up and get a qualification and pass and write their assignments, and I read their assignments and I direct them. It is very hard, it is very draining, but very rewarding. So now it's not the end of the story. I still want to go further. So I want to do a master's in health and social care. So this is where I am, and I know the sky is the limit. Who knows? I may even get to PhD if God willing. But yeah, that is my story.